So this myth is pretty easy to blow out of the water, because all we need to do is look at the definition of the word spoil. And when we think of the word spoil, that's basically a label that we use to describe a child most often. And when we think of what a spoiled child might look like, an image that comes to mind could be one with where the child has a scowl on their face. They may be very demanding, angry, bad-tempered, not very grateful for what they've received, and also not appreciating what they've received. And when we also look at the meaning of the word spoil, that means to harm the character. If we're spoiling somebody, we're harming the character of that person, especially a child, by being too lenient or overindulgent. In other words, that can have the same meaning as spoiled, can be catering to someone's every whim, waiting on them hand and foot, mollycoddling them, overparenting, babying someone, spoon-feeding them, even doting on them. So when we look at the definition of the word spoil, we can see that the myth just completely crumbles right before our very eyes. The other thing about the word spoil is that when we say we're spoiling our dogs or spoiling our children, it also gives the connotation that we are going above and beyond, that we are somehow a martyr or somehow a better person because we're giving so much more of ourselves and our situation to a child or our dog. And so that's a pretty dangerous way to look at things, and it's also dangerous to look at things that way, because the reality for dogs with respect to what they receive in a way of their physical and their mental needs being fulfilled on a daily basis, the reality for dogs in those two situations are very different, and they're quite the opposite. So there's a very interesting myth in particular that I hear, and I hear so many people say our dogs sleep on our bed, that they are so spoiled. And of course, dogs aren't silly. Dogs like to sleep in warm, comfortable places at night. And they also like to be with their human social group, their human family. And so in that case, we haven't actually spoiled our dogs. We've just provided a basic physical need of giving them somewhere nice and safe and dry and warm to sleep in at night. And we've also provided them with the ability to be close and be a part of their human family group. So in that case, that's not being spoiled. You've actually provided your dog with their basic physical and mental need of having shelter and social company. So what I wanted to do for this video, because it's quite clear that the myth of spoiling our dogs has now been erased. So I wanted to challenge you with a little exercise, and I've just put a template up here that you can see now. This is a good template to use because it goes hour by hour, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to challenge you all to really think about the times that you've actually said you've spoilt your dog by doing something, maybe giving them a treat, letting them sleep on your bed, taking them for a drive in the car. And I want you to just have a look at your dog's life, a day in your dog's life from your dog's perspective, and hour by hour write down what your dog is doing, what you are doing for your dog, what your dog is provided with, whether your dog's home alone, how many hours your dog's home alone, what you do with your dog when you come home, and just fill in that, take a few minutes, and then just see the bigger picture of what your dog's life is really like, just one day of your dog's life. And when we think about our dogs can live and be with us for at least 10 to 15 years, what we see on that piece of paper can be a pretty sad reminder of what our dogs don't get to do and don't have to look forward to on a daily basis. So what I'm hoping that you're going to do is answer a little question when you do that little exercise. And the question is, can I do more for my dog? And I'm really hoping that you're going to answer this question in three ways. Yes, I can. yes, I should, and yes, I want to. And it's so easy to provide our dogs with their physical and their mental needs on a daily basis, and just providing one thing a day, one new thing a day for them. And it can even be, now of course you might say, okay, well I have to go to work all day, that, you know, my dog has to be home alone. Well, that's fine, but there are things that you can provide for your dog in the form of food puzzle toys, scent games, other things to keep them occupied. There's also options like getting somebody to come and pet sit, maybe just once every couple of weeks, just to spend a couple of hours or a few hours with your dog to give them some activities. Even friends or relatives, maybe they can come and sit with your dog, or your dog can visit their dog if it's compatible for both of those dogs. Another thing that you can do is actually say, well, okay, instead of sitting down on my computer and playing computer games or being on Facebook for 3 or 4 hours, can I actually make time to just have 20 minutes with my dog, give them quality time and reconnect with my dog? So doing those little things every day and building upon those and doing those things that you can fit into your lifestyle easily, based around what your dog likes to do and of course what your dog needs to perform on a daily basis. I'm talking about their instinctive behaviours and also the behaviours that they prefer to do. Some dogs might like to chew, some dogs might like to dig, so providing a sandpit for them, hiding some nice interesting toys, their favourite toys, and some other chew items and little sort of treats in there to help keep them occupied. It's so easy. And there's also some other links in the description that you can look at for more ideas on how to help keep your dog busy during the day. But for the purpose of this video, we've blown that myth out of the water pretty quickly just by looking at the definition of the word spoil and understanding that that's a label that we use for humans, and of course we can't really compare dogs and children in that same context, even though our dogs have the mental cognizance and mental capacity and understanding and ability of a 2-year-old, but we can't really compare dogs to children in such a banal and generalised way. And I'm hoping that you can see that we've blown that myth out of the water. But more importantly, just wanting you to reflect on that template, take a few minutes, see what a day in your dog's life looks like, and see if you can do more for your dog.